Hey everyone, it's Mandy. Today I want to show you the Thanksgiving themed pill treat that I have concocted for Ruby. We just celebrated Thanksgiving and this was her little treat that day as she took her meds. She loves it and I know your pup will too, so enjoy. Okay, so before we get started, one thing I always like to just remind owners, especially if their dogs have epilepsy, is that you really have to get to know your dog and what might be possible triggers for your dog. Triggers are a whole conversation in itself. So if your dog might be possibly sensitive to turkey, I would recommend picking one of the other options. Ruby does very well with turkey. It's never been something that I've noticed more seizure activity after she's had it, so I use it on a pretty regular basis with her, but just something to be aware of. So this is a very simple recipe. Also remember, it doesn't have to be exactly what I'm saying. Make it your own. If you want to make a smaller batch, if you want to make a bigger batch, you can adjust the amounts. Also, if you don't have the rice that I'm using, or the brown rice flour that I'm going to be using today in the recipe, but you have a different type of flour, go ahead and use that. These recipes are not super specific, but I like to show the variety that you can do. I try to change it up with Ruby often just to give her a variety of different types of real foods that I'm hoping that she is pulling nutrients from. So let's get started. This is a super simple one. I'll be telling you what I use and there will be links to the products below. These are all products that you can very easily get at your grocery store, or I'll have links to them on Amazon in the description. So with the flour today, I'm gonna be using a brown rice flour. I have been using the Bob's Red Mill. Excuse me. Bob's Red Mill. I keep all of the different flours on hand. They're in the fridge and I use a lot of them for myself for baking. So these are just easy. This one, brown rice flour, is a gluten-free flour. So if your dog needs to be on a gluten-free diet, this is a great option for them. So we are gonna do 4 tablespoons of the brown rice flour. For the unflavored collagen or gelatin, this is really the binder that helps the pill treat stay together. Collagen for your dogs is very healthy. Normally they would get this if they were out in the wild, like a wolf, eating tendons and skin and bones of an animal that they killed to eat. So for many of you who have dogs that are on a raw diet, your dog is probably naturally getting some of this, but for the rest of us who don't feed raw, this is a great thing just to add in as a supplement for your pup. So I'm gonna do 1 tablespoon of that. I usually take those dry ingredients then and just kind of mix them up. Oh, and this is the Great Lakes gelatin. There is another one that I use that you will probably see me using in other videos. I typically have both of those on hand. This Great Lakes gelatin is the one that I use for myself as well. So this goes in my coffee every morning, or I put a scoop into a smoothie. So it's just something that I always have on hand and is easy to use, and I know is a good high quality product. So I'm comfortable giving it to Ruby. So next we are gonna take half a jar of the turkey baby food. So baby food has become one of my little hacks while I'm making a home pill treat for her, because there's no blending, there's no pureeing, all of the work is done for me, and I always say, if it's good enough for baby, it's good enough for Ruby. So with this particular recipe, you're just gonna use half of the turkey, and as you see, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. So I use half this jar of turkey, and then because it is a Thanksgiving themed, I'm gonna use half a jar of the sweet potato. You could make it your own. So if you wanted to do half of green beans or half of butternut squash, like kind of those different Thanksgiving theme types of foods, those are all provided in a baby food jar. So it makes it really, really easy. I use the butternut brand of baby food. I like it because it's just whatever is on the label is what you find in the jar when you look at the ingredients. So this is just sweet potato and water. There's never any other sort of spices mixed into it, or if it is, they would say it right on the label. So I just want to give Ruby exactly what the vegetable is, or the meat is, or the fruit is. I don't want her to have anything extra in there that I'm unsure about. So I really like this brand for that reason. So I'm going to use half of the sweet potato. Sweet potato is another thing that I've seen some owners say that their dogs will be triggered by, so just something to be aware of. The nice thing with using the baby food is it's enough moisture. You don't have to add any extra water into this particular recipe. The turkey and the sweet potato baby food are liquid enough that it makes it so easy for everything to mix up really, really well. So this is one of those recipes that you are going to want to set it in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes before you actually go in and start to form the treat. So I'm going to do that now. Another option is if you don't like to pre-form the treats, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. But if you don't like to pre-form the treats, you can just keep it just like this. I call it a dough ball. So you could just keep it. I would cover this with saran wrap, or maybe put this into a container that has a nice lid on it that can go and stay in the refrigerator. But if you have a dog that takes different sizes of pills, or you just don't have the time or want to take the time to make the pill treat form, then it absolutely could just stay as a ball of dough in your fridge, and you just pinch off as you go. So I'm gonna put this in the fridge for 30 minutes, and then I'll be back to show you how to form the pill treats. Okay, so I just pulled out, first off, we have Ruby joining us. I brought over a chair so she could be up here. She definitely was smelling the dough as I was pulling it out. But just to give you a little look-see, as I pulled it out of the fridge, this is what it looks like. It definitely looks like any sort of dough that you might create for anything, like a cookie dough. Yeah, they smell good. Yeah. So the next step would be that we will form some of the pill treats. I did want to mention though, now after this recipe, we have 2 half jars of baby food. So some options that you can do is I will keep these in the refrigerator, and I might stir a little bit into her kibble, just to kind of give it a little something extra, something special. Another option is to take ice cube trays or the mini muffin tins and just put the leftovers into each of the spaces, freeze it, and then put those into a freezer Ziploc bag into the freezer, and then you have a portion size ready for the next time that you might want to use it. So just wanted to mention that so the baby food that is left over does not go to waste. So to form the pill treats, here, wanna try a little? Is that yummy? Oh yeah, that's good stuff. Is that a good batch? Yep, Ruby approves. So I might have pulled this out of the refrigerator a little bit too early, as it still seems pretty wet, but so you can kind of test it out. If it seems like it is, you can put it back in there for a little bit longer. If you need to, you can always add a little bit more flour, anything to kind of help it firm up. Since mine is still a little kind of wet, I'm not going to actually do the pill treats. Normally I would do a ball of dough and then I would put my finger in it where the pill treat would actually go. The nice thing about the baby food is this stuff stays pretty soft in the refrigerator, so it makes it so easy to slip the pill in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna create these little dough balls. If I had more time, I would just leave it in the refrigerator for a little bit longer to really let it become more solid so I could form the treats, but this works just as well. So what I do is I just create these, put them into a dish with a cover that will stay in the refrigerator well. These pill treats, I would say stay for about a week or so. A week, maybe a little bit longer in the refrigerator. You're just gonna wanna make sure that there's a nice airtight container so they don't dry out. Okay. Also, if you would like to have all of my recipes in one place, you can check out in the description. I have a link to my book that has all of the homemade pill treat recipes, along with other tips and tricks for helping your dog take their medication. So definitely check that out if that's something that you're interested in. Otherwise, I hope you come back and join us for further recipes and learn with me as I learn with Ruby. So thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time. Wanna try that? Oh yeah, good stuff. Isn't that yummy? Bye.